I grew up in Vermont, so I mean that's normal for me.
All right, here we go. Elizabeth, we have never met before because this is your movie debut, and so we've never talked films before, but I do know about your background as a stage actress and your successes and so forth. But now here you are in this major motion picture, and
major motion picture.
yes,
Right.
and with a very important role. And I just have to think that maybe coming from the stage into such a big role, an important film, you had to be a little nervous, weren't you?
Sure. I mean, you're always nervous when you embark on something that's brand new, but it's more of a nervous excitement than a nervous panic kind of thing, because you know what you're capable of. And I had a great support system to work off of, and I knew that from before I even got on the airplane to go out and shoot the film. Two producers, Stuart Oken and Jason Brett, and Ed Zwick, the director. I knew that I could rely on them from day one, and that they were going to be there for me. And they knew it was my first film, and that they would have to be a little bit more supportive than, say, somebody who had been in the business for a while, and they were right there for me. And it was great. I mean, it really helped me out a lot.
Was there anything difficult about the transition from stage to film?
Not so much difficult, but like I said, it was a new experience. There was a lot of things you had to overcome. For me, working on the stage, one of the impetuses for my energy on stage is an audience. I mean, in my opinion, an audience can make or break a performance of an actor. And when you're shooting a film, you don't have that luxury, and so you're almost forced to create your own energy. And it's not just for 2.5 hours like it is in a play, it's for 12 or 16 or however long you happen to be filming. And that takes a great deal of concentration. And you really have to focus, and you have to be there when they say action, regardless of what's gone on in the last 10 hours. And it's also difficult to get used to the continuity, and because when you're acting on stage, you have all of these things that lead up to a big moment. You know, so you have all of these things that can affect you and create the emotion. But when you're working on film, okay, they're going to do a close-up, so now go ahead. And that also takes a great deal of concentration. And plus you've got to remember where you've been, where you're going, and what comes next. So you constantly have to go back to the script and remember the character, and remember what came before this scene, what's coming after, where am I going. And so it's you're creating a much more, you have more time to create a rounded character than, say, when you're on stage for 2.5 hours. But you also miss that flow that you get from doing a stage performance.
From what you're saying, I'm almost believing that you think movie acting is more difficult.
I think it is for me because it's brand new. I mean, you know, maybe 10 years from now I'll be going, well, now when you go on stage, you've got this audience, you know, and they're giving you all this energy. But it is for me because it was the first time. I think that to maintain that kind of concentration for that long takes a great deal of discipline. But then again, to perform on stage, say, in the same role for a year, also takes an incredible amount of discipline. They're just different mediums, and they require different energies and different disciplines.
Do you like the film work, though?
Very much. I was fascinated with the whole process of filmmaking. I was almost like a kid in a candy store. You never really think when you watch a film how much goes into every single aspect. You've got, you know, when you look at a film, you see a person walking down the street or a car driving by. And for some reason, I always thought, oh, isn't it nice that a car just happened to drive by in the scene? And it never crossed my mind that each minute detail is so pre-planned and you know, thought about. So that just creates a whole mood. It was nice. it was real interesting for me to.
Joan is such an interest.
Can we pause a second?
Yeah.
Bob, you're getting a real smooth one now.
Speed.
Oh, were you?
Okay.
We're done.
Okay. Joan is a very distinct character, and you bring some very distinctive things to her.
Mm-hmm.
Did you ever play a character like her before, or have you known somebody like Joan?
Oh, well, it's interesting because I have this habit of when I work on a part, I sometimes get on a bus or on a subway and try to find somebody exactly like them and study them. I mean, I was always one of those kids in a restaurant that mom would go, stop staring and eat. And I have a girlfriend in Chicago who is Joan. I mean, she's just the embodiment of this person. And I tapped into her a lot. She didn't know it, but I spent a lot of time with her while I was filming the movie, watching her mannerisms, the way she reacted to things. And I also find that very interesting because it's almost a character study. It's a lot of fun to do that.
Now, how is she going to respond when she finds
Well,
out?
I told her when we finished shooting, I said, I just want you to know that you are Joan in the film. And so she's waiting with bated breath to see, my opinion of her kind of thing. But she's also a very sweet person and feels a lot. And I that's one of the things that I really wanted to bring to Joan, so that she wouldn't just come off as an angry young woman, as a mean person. I mean, I think that Joan has gone through a lot of pain, and she's been hurt, and all of this anger comes out of a defense for her, and I wanted to make sure that there was that vulnerability with it.
You have a wonderful contact with the camera, and there are actors, film actors, who work for years to try to get that, and you just must have it naturally. I don't believe you could have developed it in such a short time. Are you aware that you have that?
No, I'm not. Thank you. One of the things I really have been trying to work on as far as my craft and how I feel about it is relaxation, and I think it's really important for an actor to really try and work towards that. It's tough when there's a camera 2 inches away from your face, and but I can see when I watch myself. I can see when I'm nervous, or I can see when I'm off. Actors are so critical of their own work. The audience can never see half the things that I can see in myself. But thank you.
Did you think of the camera as a person, maybe, that you were playing to a person?
No, I just ignored it completely, because I think that's, it's hard. It's hard to ignore it completely. Nobody ever ignores it completely, but I just would not focus on that and all the people standing back. If you focus on the person and the scene and the surroundings you're in, then you can cast away that. So you want to sort of build a fourth wall where the camera is, and that's what I've tried to do. So the less you think about it, the less it will be there.
Well, Elizabeth, I've enjoyed having a chance to talk with you, and I'll look forward to seeing you in your next film, whatever it is, and I'm sure there will be a
There
next.
is one already. So
Is there?
yeah,
What
I'm
is
glad.
it?
I'm doing a film with Judd Nelson and John Hurt. We begin production at the end of June.
What is it
It's
called?
called From the Hip.
And what kind of character?
I'm a young social worker who works with handicapped children and is sort of fighting for Ronald Reagan to stop cutting the social programming in this country. So I feel pretty good about that.
Well, we'll look forward to
making
that.
A statement, so it's nice.
Okay, thank you, Elizabeth.
Thank you.
That's a nice interview, thank you. Yeah, it's very nice.
Speed.
Did you ever play a character like Joan, or do you know someone like her? Okay. Is that a warning? Okay.
Keep going.
We better just do some reactions then. Okay, let's see. Well, that's okay. Let's just let it go.